Alrighty guys, welcome back. I'd say this is day number 20. I've been off of the project for a few days. So I had other stuff to do. Other cars to fix. Shitty cars, unfortunately. But anyways, I'd just like to show you what I've done so far. I say it's 20 days, but it's actually, I would say it's actually, there's the solo there. It's actually maybe 12 days of, like full days, 12 full days. I'm saying 20, but part-time days. Some days I only worked for a few hours, so really it's been, I'm going to say maybe 12, 14 full days. Maybe even a little less. I'd just like to mention what I've done. At this point, the whole body is finished, primed. The only thing left to do is the trunk hood there. Here's the right door. That little. Yeah, that's a little too. Let me try to adjust the. Oh, fuck. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, that's what we have there. There's the door. Looking pretty good. There's the trunk. It's not going to be too hard to fix the trunk. I'd like to point out a few things. There's a piece of trim around here. Used to go under there, and I just had to use a plasma torch to just melt them off. And one thing I'd like to mention is that when you're using the plasma cutter to remove a bolt, you usually want to keep the original hole undamaged. And to do that, you have to aim the plasma cutter right in the middle, right in the center of the bolt. Right? But be very careful, because by doing so, the sparks fly back at you. So just be very careful. Wear your fucking goggles and shit. Gloves are helpful too. But there's a front. Oh shit. Looking nice, huh? I welded a piece of metal here. All along here I had to make welds. Looking pretty sleek, pretty nice. Put the fenders on for now. Why is this fucking image so goddamn it's too much light. That's better. At the top here, there's the top all finished. And when I put the body filler, I'd like to mention one thing. To go in this direction, like this, but to make it nice and straight, you actually have to use the narrow spatula and go this way, like that. I'll show you what I mean. I actually left the original primer. I scraped off the paint because it was chipping off, but the primer is actually intact, so I left it just primed over it. Remember that you can actually apply body filler on top of the primer. It's actually hard sometimes. It's actually a lot more difficult to see the little nicks and dents and scratches when you're dealing with like paint and body filler. So what I like to do is just body fill the big cracks, big dents and shit, then prime it, and then once you see little nicks and dings, just just put body filler on top of the primer, right? I still have to scrape this off here, but yeah, I taped over the trim, make sure it's not painted or primed on top of the trim. We don't want that. Everything's nice and protected from the rust. I undercoated the roof. Right, silicone over there. I just want my main objective, because now we're getting close to the winter. I might not have time to work on this project, so I'm just protecting it so that the work I've done doesn't get lost. Right? There's this side here, almost finished now. Yeah, it's gonna need some sanding and shit here. But remember that the primer and the paint will cover up a lot of the little holes, so don't worry, don't go too crazy about that. It's just from experience, you gotta know what can be covered and what cannot. There's a starter motor. Probably no good anymore, at least the solenoid's no good. But actually, guys, you know, if you guys are into this stuff, I buy all my parts from a website called Rock Auto, and they have parts for, oh my god, millions of cars, without exaggeration. Parts for cars all the way down to cars from the 1920s, and they're actually very cheap, guys. A lot of the parts are very cheap. The starter motor over there, the price is $50. Right, just $50. That's pretty reasonable. Brand new one. I have to pay a little more for shipping, but still, I think it's $20 for shipping, and for tax, of course, $80 for a new starter. That's fairly good. One of the wheel cylinders for this car cost $3. Believe it or not, these guys are unbelievable. Here's the. Remember, this is all fucked up. I had to redo this. This actually took me a whole day to do this part here, because it was just so fucking there's so many fucking curves. What's going on with this image? There we go. Right, and you need the curves because this thing goes inside. But one big problem I had is that this fucking thing, see the bolts, the nuts that go inside here, they actually fell all the way down to the bottom, so these fucking dummies didn't put anything to hold it, so probably have to make a hole here in the body, remove it, put it back, weld the bolt and nut onto it, then weld the hole back together. There, that's better. It's looking pretty good, guys. Remember how it used to look before? Yeah, and with these, you know, you're supposed to, ideally you're supposed to strain the primer before you apply it. It's basically just like a coffee filter, but it's a very fucking expensive coffee filter, so I didn't want to spend money to those fucking assholes. Those fucking assholes that just want to rip people off absurd prices. So it's just fair. I just rather just apply the primer, and then afterwards these things just scrape off fairly easily with a spatula or a putty knife, if you want to call it that. I think that's what it's called as well. All those little holes. Yeah, this is a little too much right there. I don't know if you can see it, but anyways, I still got to sand it down. Maybe apply a little more primer, body filler in some spots. But there's only a tiny bit of body filler on this here, guys. It's less than, I would say, 2-3 millimeters. That's it. Less than that. Less than 1/16 of an inch. All this here I welded. I'm proud of myself. There's how it looks. So unfortunately I'm unable to put that door back because of those fucking bolts. The fucking nuts in there. The battery's almost dead. I'll just I'm guessing I'm not gonna have money to put the windshield. That's a little expensive. $300 just for the windshield. It's not bad, but I don't have that money yet, and I'm not gonna have time to work on this car. I primed this part here. It's like probably sandblast and fix the hubcaps, and then prime them as well and paint them. Nice. Put the shocks in, and I still got to weld, fix those parts there. Right. There's a piece of trim that goes on the front hood there. You see some of the parts of the melted bolt are still on there. They come off fairly easily. Zoom in, motherfucker. Pretty proud of myself, guys. This is looking amazing. All right, now I know it looks like a fucking clown car. You know, parts are red and a gray car, but you know the red paint here is just to once again, at this point, we're not worrying about the looks too much. Just protecting the car, and so right now all I'm caring about is the shape of the car, make sure everything's nice and smooth. Then all we have to do is paint it. Lots of work to do here on the inside, but the inside is actually the easiest part, because all you have to do is just buy a big piece of sheet metal and weld it on top. That's it, right? That's pretty much it. Then undercoated and good to go. The hardest parts are outside because of the curves. They have to be perfect. Inside it doesn't really matter because there's going to be a carpet on top, right? And it's not showing, so it doesn't really matter.